Good evening. Get my mic situated here. Good evening, race fans. Intensity Broadcasting here tonight with Jacob in the booth, calling some In the Zone Racing ARCA Series. Oh, and here we are again with the wrong readout. Hold on just a moment. Hopping from one to the other seems to throw me a curveball once in a while, but easy to fix. There you have it. In the Zone Racing ARCA Series here tonight from Richmond. Brought to you by Intensity Broadcasting. Some of our other partners include that of the Butt Kicker. Get some good sim gear from them. I'd have to study up myself and figure out all that they... I want to say they feature actual, like, real-life motion sims so that you can kind of feel the vibrations of the racetrack while you're racing. The hidden opponent, it is mental health month, or it is in the month here. I apologize. I just trying to do a little bit more coverage of everything brought to you in Intensity Broadcasting stables here. If you look in our description, you can find more information out on those very special entities that help put us on the map for iRacing broadcasts. And here tonight, it's getting heated up for the title in the Zone Racing ARCA Championship with only 2 races left to go. You're looking at the man that's leading the points right now, Dylan Bates. At least you were, the 91 there, the orange Chevrolet. He has won the first 2 races in the chase here. And tonight looks to try and extend his top 10 streak. So far, 12 races strong. 12 races, top 5s actually, even better than a top 10. He's had 12 consecutive top 5 finishes this year, and has converted over to the championship lead for him. But even so, don't count out a couple other contenders that could still eke out the points gap that exists. Looking at the 66 there, he could still be potentially in the mix. Eric Tracy, that is. Eric Tracy is going to be in a scenario here tonight where he's going to have to outpoint Dylan Bates pretty strongly here to stay in the mix for the title in the final race next week, as he currently sits about 41 points back, 42 points back of Dylan Bates. Mike Alexander is 41 points back. Dylan Schreiner is under 30 points. Kieran Church just at about 25 points back. And if you're looking at race wins are going to get you nearly 50 points on a good day. So So far for Dylan Bates, his worst race of the season was at Kern County, and that is the race that is dropped from the points situation. They do get one drop race, so the worst race is their mulligan, and they get to drop it. It does not count for them. It doesn't count against them. So once you start looking at that, each driver is going to have different worst races, but when Dylan Bates' worst finish was a top 5 at Kern County, the rest of the field better be worried. So yeah, the top 3 that could still hunt him down for the title, especially if there's something that goes wrong here tonight for Dylan Bates. I mean, we don't want to see it happen, but there's always that off chance that something happens out of your control. And Richmond can be one of those tracks that's kind of tough to tangle with. And so hopefully, for his own sake, that he doesn't get into a mistake tonight, but that could allow for some of the other contenders to pounce, such as our other title contenders, Daniel Pope and Kieran Church. Dylan Schreiner and Mike Alexander still very much in the mix as well. Looks like our top 5 are all signed in here to race tonight, so that checks out. So far, the fastest is Kieran Church, one of your top 5 title contenders. Fastest in practice here. Mike Alexander, second fastest. Eric Tracy, Daniel Pope. Those are 4 of your top 5. Dylan Bates not showing his speed here in practice quite yet, as he's 11th fastest in practice. But for most cases, practice is not an indicator of the actual race. For these ARCA cars, Richmond kind of feels like a bit of a hybrid track. Most of the tracks they've been running on are sub half mile up to a half mile, with the slight exception of tracks like Atlanta and Darlington that we've hit too. But Richmond is definitely one of those very unique short tracks. A lot of room for the drivers to get around and race amongst, right alongside of each other. And it's not all that uncommon to see 3 wide with the very occasional 4 wide rolling around Richmond. And you know, if you're 4 wide at Richmond, that's going to spell trouble. So the less you spend at 4 wide, the best. Well, we are down to just 6 minutes and change here in practice. Of course, after tonight's race, the last race next week will be at Iowa. 100 laps around Iowa to decide the championship, which pretty much all indicators are pointing towards the championship going down to the finale next week. It's going to be possible for Dylan Bates to tie it up tonight. However, it's going to require some of the other contenders to have an absolutely bad run here tonight. So, and then you got to factor in what race would drop after that. Would it be a race that's droppable here tonight for them that would keep them still on the fringe of that title hunt? Looks like we've got 25 cars signed in to tangle with Richmond here tonight. 25 is a pretty good field for Richmond. It's going to be exciting to see how the racing unfolds here tonight. Dylan Bates was able to move up to 7th quickest here in practice. Yeah, Kieran Church is trying to find the limits of the racetrack here tonight in practice. It's the best time to do it right now is to find the limits, push it, and figure out what you can convert over into the race for tonight. Dylan Bates going back out for another lap. Oh, and there, whoops. Yeah, it's just practice after all, you know. Very, you don't want to try to replicate what Ty Dillon did at Las Vegas, that's for sure. During the race, that's one thing you don't want to do. But during practice in an iRacing event, yeah, it doesn't, no biggie. You can hit the reset button and have a new car to hop right into. So 2 minutes left in practice here. Dylan Bates going to turn at least another couple laps here to try and maybe get up a little higher in the practice order. So far, the fastest lap is a 21.4. Second fastest was a 21.41. And Dylan Bates decided, yep, that's all she wrote, maybe. I mean, this is a pretty standard strategy when I'm in an iRacing circuit to try and reset the car, get the tires reset, and go for a hot lap. So now I get it. I can really see what they're doing here. They're trying to get that one hot lap when the tires are good. And if the tires, I mean, if they don't turn that hot lap, hit the reset button, try it again. So we got 26 cars signed in now. Last car to sign in looks like Caleb Hill. So 26 could be the full field here tonight. Whoa, Dylan Bates is 22.5, so a whole second off from the fast time there. See if he's on a heater lap here. He's keeping it up high, testing that high line around Richmond. And that was good for a 21.89, so close, but not quite. Looks like he's going to have time for one more lap. Clips the outside wall there. Rolling through turns 3 and 4, letting it all hang out. Practice has concluded. Dylan Bates' lap that time was a 21.52, so still top 10 fastest in practice here. No one was able to top Kieran Church, Mike Alexander, and Eric Tracy, as they were the top 3 in the practice session. And so now we will get set up for qualifying here. Go ahead and do it hot potato style, jump from car to car. Got Doug Gaillard there in the number 94 Chevrolet. Matthew Barkhouse rolling out in the nice looking Taco Bell scheme. The ITZR number 5 of Bill Tomer, race winner on the season earlier at Kern Count. No, correction. Let me look back at my stats here. It was at Oswego. Was a track change that we had, and he came out on top, dominating at Oswego earlier this season. So far, fastest in qualifying here at a 21.73. We'll see if his second lap is any quicker here. Dylan Bates turned a 22.03. Tomer, good for top of the podium. 21.52. Eric Tracy turns a 21.54. Dylan Bates jumps up to 4th fastest on his second lap there. We'll go ahead and jump over to Tyler Rice in the number 6 from Cherokee, Oklahoma. He's been kind of a dark horse this year. Pun unintentional, where he's driving he's driving a Ford Mustang, and he's a dark horse this season. He's been very, very close to getting some good finishes, and a little bit of bad luck has struck here and there. With just a couple races left in the season, will tonight be a race dominated by the playoff drivers, or could we see a dark horse driver such as Tyler Rice maybe show up to the plate and deliver a home run? His first timed lap is good for 16th quickest. And here we got Corey Bigley in the Red Bull Mustang, number 28. Kieran Church and Josh Oswald also running right now, so this could be a driver flirting with the pole position, one of these two. Whoa, we got way loose on his warm-up lap there. Josh Oswald, 23rd quickest at a 21.99. Corey Bigley, 25th fastest at a 22.30. There, Bigley, second lap, turned up the wicker, got it to 6th quickest, 21.58. We're keeping our eyes on Kieran Church here. His first time lap, good for last, so he's going to have to pick up a whole bunch of time on his second lap. Oh, and he got way loose on the backside of the track there. This might be good for 26th. Ouch. Well, he can't say he didn't give it a shot. He tried. Fortunately for him, it looks like he's going to have to start dead last here tonight. That title hunt is going to be a little bit harder to rise the occasion here. So everyone that has turned their times already, qualifying session is all but over. Fastest lap belongs to the 5 of Bill Tomer. Second quickest, Mike Alexander, still very much alive for that title hunt. Eric Tracy, third fastest. Daniel Pope, the second. Fourth quickest. Dylan Bates, fifth. So all your title contenders right there in the top 5. Tomer's got an outside chance. He could still, with a little bit of luck, maybe get towards where he can actually fight for the battle of the championship next week. But he's going to need a lot of lucky breaks here tonight. Corey Bigley, Larson Parker, Dylan Schreiner, Jeff By Jr., and Brady Weileman round out your top 10 here in the qualifying session. Apologies, I had my mic muted and I forgot about that. So you didn't get to hear me call out the names in the starting lineup. You did get to see them. But here we roll, and oh, not quite. Okay, good. One more lap under pace here. And so last time Bill Tomer start pole position, he was able to convert that into a victory. That race, of course, was one we were talking about from Oswego, where he led just about every lap dominantly from pole position to take home the victory there. The rest of the field here hoping tonight that this is not an indicator of what could happen, but you never know. 100 laps at Richmond should be a good one. It might roll by pretty quickly, or it might get dragged out by caution, so we'll have to see. Drivers are ready in the restart zone. Here we go. We're off and rolling here for the penultimate race of the season. ITZR Championship on the line. "100 laps here tonight. Richmond never disappoints. We're always full of great racing action. And already with the lead for the first 2 laps, it's Bill Tomer. Sitting in second, it's Mike Alexander. Third, Daniel Pope. And Dylan Bates is already up on the move, gaining a spot up into fourth. And I don't intend to jinx it whenever I bring it up, but the top 5 streak that Dylan Bates has rolling is something very impressive. If he can somehow manage to maintain a top 5 here tonight, it will be 11 races strong with a top 5 finish. He's been able to convert, of his 10 top 5s, 3 wins this season, 2 of which have come in the last 2 races. And so he's starting to establish himself as the SVG of the playoffs as he continues to rack up the wins when the stakes are high. The higher the stakes, the better he performs, it seems like, because the championship is on the line. But this is starting to get the feelings of a quick Richmond race here tonight. We've already been rolling here, and we're almost a 10th of the way through the night's race. So you got to start to kind of game plan for a long run and figure out what the best attack is for the long run of the race. Looks like Mike Alexander kind of flirting with the idea of taking the lead away from Bill Tomer here. Tomer firing on all cylinders from the start of the race. He's already led the first 9 laps, going on 10. Daniel Pope's right there in the mix. Mike Alexander not wasting any time. He wants to try and get around the 5 ASAP. Not waste any time sitting in second here. Like I was saying, the strategies kind of change depending on how long the green flag runs are. And if you're going to have a long green flag run, it kind of puts yourself in a scenario of, do I want to save tires? Do I want to go wide open? Where do we put ourselves in the next 50 laps to get in a good shot for a 25-lap shootout to win it? And so there's a lot of that factors in here, figuring out to push the envelope, but at the same time, you don't want to burst the envelope. Top 4 have kind of broken away here at the moment. You do have Corey Bigley on the move. Eric Tracy's dropping backwards here. He has lost 3 spots and under attack for another, which would put him back to 7th. The exit of turn 2 seems to be the hot spot for clipping the wall here at Richmond. We've seen a lot of smoke and a lot of cars hit that wall right at that spot. Here we go. Eric Tracy losing another spot here, this time to the 92 of Dylan Schreiner. They are going to duke it out for the position. For that title hunt, this is definitely not what Eric Tracy needs. I mean, obviously it's not what any of these drivers need, is to have a unhappy car in the early run at any racetrack. And that seems to be the case for the 66. The car setup maybe just not happy, as he might lose another spot here to the 18 of Larson Parker. All in the meanwhile, your leader's still kind of cruising up front. Dylan Bates gains a spot, getting around Daniel Pope there. And that's kind of turned up the aggression factor for the 75, it looks like, knowing that the 91's got around the 11. time to turn it up to 11 for Mike Alexander as he gets around Bill Tomaire, and he's going to be having to defend against Dylan Bates now. Bates is opening up the floodgate. The rest of the drivers are just going to have to be wary. Well, and that could have been ugly. The 5 got a little bit loose on exit, and it could have been loose into the 91, but they all stayed clear of each other there. But here we have it. Swapped positions around the top 5. Mike Alexander up 1 to the lead. Dylan Bates gains another couple spots, plus 3 to second. Daniel Pope up 1 into third, as Bill Tomaire seems to have used his stuff up here, at least in the early part of this segment. And with the race only being 100 laps, it kind of turns up that aggression level. You know, there's no time to wait for lap such and such. You know that the race is going to be a quick one here tonight. So it's like racing, you know, the final stage of a race for the entire 100 laps. These drivers giving it their all and not letting up off the throttle. Side by side for the lead. Dylan Bates is right there, but Mike Alexander not wanting to give it up. Drag racing down the backstretch. The 75 has the advantage rolling into turn 3. The 91 still right there knocking on the door. Great battle for the lead. 91 still throws it in sharp there. Has the advantage on the inside line, kept the 75 up high. It seems to not be slowing down the 75 one bit. As Mike Alexander continues to hold the lead away from your points leader, Dylan Bates. And now, joining the party, you got Daniel Pope, and even Corey Bigley up into 4th now. He can see the lead very much from his front windshield. And just like that, we are a quarter of the way through the race. 75 laps to go. But don't let the drivers know there's 75 laps, because it seems like they're running like it's 5 to go. Good run from Pope there on the high side as he gets by the 91 of Bates. Tomaire has settled back in line right there in 5th. And here we have Daniel Pope alongside the 75. 75 proved that it's going to be a task to pass him on the inside, as it seems like his car is happy no matter which line he gets thrown into. So we'll see if Daniel Pope did his homework watching the battle between the 91 and the 75 and learned anything there. Well, Daniel Pope falling into the grasp of Dylan Bates, as we also have some lap traffic ahead. Well, for lap 30 here, let us do a butt kicker through the field, starting with your leader, none other than the 75 of Mike Alexander, who could still get himself into a shot at winning this title. He's going to need some bad luck to befall a few of the other competitors here tonight to get closer in that title hunt. Then you've got Daniel Pope the second. He's very much still in the mix, but just like Mike Alexander, might need a little bit to help him. Dylan Bates, your points leader, the winner from the last 2 races in the playoffs here. Still looking stout here tonight, running in 3rd. And then one of the surprise rebounds here tonight, Corey Bigley, who's had a rough season, looking to try and end the season on a high note, running 4th here tonight at Richmond. Then you've got one-time winner on the season, Bill Tomer, matching the car number, running in 5th. 92 of Dylan Schreiner. He's still alive, but the way things are going right now, it might be increasingly closing that window for opportunity to win the title. Same scenario there with Eric Tracy, as a 7th place tonight versus Dylan Bates' top 5 finish could be problematic. And they're getting around some of the lap traffic there, the 94 of Doug Gaillard. Larson Parker running in 8th. Brady Weileman, winner on the season as well, running in 9th here. Jeff By Jr., AJ Rogers, Matthew Barkhouse running in 12th. One of our 2 Canadians running in the field here tonight. His brother Mike Alexander leading the way. Then you've got Zachary Onan and Tyler Rice duking it out here for 13th and 14th. Jacob Boehm running in 15th, the number 00 Chevrolet. Kieran Church has been able to gain 10 spots here tonight, from dead last to 16th. He might need a caution or something to help get him back in the mix. Then you've got Josh Oswald, David Hill, Aaron Abendroth, William Griffith, Jason Lottridge, Caleb Hill, Rick Rube, repping the Nauti Perch Swim Up Bar Chevrolet, sponsor over on our SESRA Racing. Oh wait, my bad. It's the main sponsor of the ITZR ARCA Series here. And then you've got Tim Weinreich, Doug Gaillard just about to go a lap down as well, it looks like. Or he's already gone a lap down. And Cody Boehm is off the racetrack. So there is your butt kicker through the field tonight, as we complete lap number 40 there. No cautions. This race has gone green from lap 1 to lap 40. So once we get to about halfway here, that's going to be when you start to see which drivers have made the right calls, who saved the tires, who burned up their tires, and how things are going to shake out. So far, Mike Alexander looking like a pro. He is the second fastest to Dylan Bates, who had the fastest lap last time around. So they're tight. Lap times are very comparable to each other. Ooh, the 11 of Daniel Pope clipped the wall there. He saw the smoke roll off the 11. But these ARCA cars are far more forgiving than the current generation of NASCAR Next Gen stock cars. They could clip the wall, and sometimes it might actually make the car run better, as crazy as that sounds. So if you're in a cup car, though, you clip the wall, you're you might have a tie rod broke. Your tire might just, it's very fragile, but at the same time built like a brick house. Alrighty, so our first caution comes here on lap 44, involving what looks to be the 17 of Josh Oswald. So let's see how this happened here. Right there at the bottom of 3 wide, or about to be bottom 3 wide. Yeah, just unfortunately, I think the 23 there kind of miscalculated the line, trying to avoid the other car up high. Oswald almost saves it there, overcorrects a little bit. It looks like he's going to keep it off the wall, though. He's in a constant state of trying to save it from spinning out. Ultimately goes around here at the end of, or at the start of turn 3, rather. So pretty simple first caution of the night. Nothing too major. And that is going to open up the window for pit stops here, as so many of your leaders taking the advantage to pit, get freshened up. Looks like 75 took some tires, but the 91 beats him out of the pits. Dylan Bates to the top spot. Rick Rube and Jeff By Jr. not yet pitted. Rick Rube now heading down pit road. So got to wonder about the strategy call here on Jeff By Jr. to stay out. We'll see if he pits next time by, if he's going to just stretch it as long as he can to come in for fuel. That caution honestly timed pretty well, perfect here to give us a halfway break. We'll get back and rolling by about lap 50, and we'll just do it all over again. No retirements through the first half of the race, only the one caution for a spinner. Spinner there of Josh Oswald in the number 17. And it's looking like Jeff By Jr. might stay out here and try to mix it up with the leaders on the restart. Wave around goes to the 17 of Josh Oswald there. They get doubled up. Dylan Bates takes the inside. Mike Alexander as well on the inside right behind him. Moving up into the top 10, you got Matthew Barkhouse up to 6th there. As we get ready for the restart, Dylan Bates sets himself up for success in the second half, gaining the lead from pit stops, or at least the advantage, not quite the lead. 97 led the field to the restart, and it's going to be Dylan Bates on the inside. Nice clean start, but the 91 prevails, taking over the top spot. Oh, and they might be wrecking in the background. That lap car coming out the wrong possible time here. Gracefully pulls off the racing line, and no, we've got a spinner. Well, folks, this is what we call cautions breed cautions. As the first caution of the race came late in the first half. Now we've got our second one here just at halfway on lap 50. So we'll go ahead and watch the 92 there of Dylan Schreiner. Yeah, I think the 94 kind of threw some of these drivers off when he pulled down. 92 didn't look like he did anything out of the normal, but may have just overdrove it in the corner there, lost control. Spinning out in front of Daniel Pope. Bill Tomer is going to come in here. Looks like it kind of clears the path for him, but it's very tight. Luckily, no contact was made, and everyone rolls through the caution here without much wear and tear. And now this definitely makes this a valid, strategy call for Jeff By Jr. If we get more cautions here, he might be able to kind of run this thing out without having to worry. And that might have been what he was banking on, is having some more cautions to kind of help him stretch out the fuel numbers here tonight. Yeah, it's looking like we might get the two tails of Richmond here tonight. The calm, cool, calculated first half, and maybe the chaotic, carnage-filled second half. Don't want to jinx it, obviously, but already 2 cautions in the past 5 laps. Crazy part is that even if Dylan Bates were to win the race here tonight, he ain't locking up the championship with the likes of Mike Alexander hanging in the top here. A few of these drivers that could keep that points gap small enough to where Dylan Bates, obviously, he'd have to have worst case scenario happen in the finale next week, like finishing outside the top 20 and a guaranteed win for Mike Alexander, or someone in a situation similar to what could be befalling Mike Alexander here at the end of tonight. Single file restart here for lap 54. Dylan Bates, your leader. We're off and rolling. Green flag waving. Dylan Bates leading. Mike Alexander getting back by for second place here. Wow, things are getting wild there for third place as they're trying to get around the slower Jeff By Jr. here. Whoa, a little bit of contact there with Barkhouse and Parker. Everyone keeps rolling, but that could have been trouble. Mike Alexander knocking on the door for the lead here. So yeah, the big names that are still alive, based on how they're running right now, would be Daniel Pope II. His 12-point disadvantage might end up growing a little bigger here tonight with Dylan Bates running where he's at. And then Mike Alexander has a 31-point deficit that all he hopes for is that he can beat Dylan Bates to make that go in the other direction. Alrighty, so we're under our third caution here on lap 60. And it looks like one of our title contenders involved in the accident here. The 66 there, keep your eyes on him. That of Eric Tracy, who has an outside chance with a little bit of luck here tonight. Looks like they're catching up on the slower traffic there of Jeff By Jr. on the strategy call that he made. Unfortunately, did not pan out for him as it forced him to lose a lot of track position here on the green flag run. He cuts right in front of the 66, and that just kind of closed the door on Eric Tracy there as he gets spun out, running in what would have been about the top 15. Internet connection on his end looks like blipped out there, but I guarantee you he hit the wall on the slide down in the inside of the track. So tough break for Eric Tracy. His night just got a little bit harder, and that title got a little bit further away from him. And so we're going to be down to 37 laps to go when we get the next restart here. Race still very much up for grabs. Corey Bigley has not left up front here. He's still very much in the mix for the win here tonight. Don't count out Daniel Pope, nor Larson Parker, or Matthew Barkhouse for that matter. They are all very much alive to drive for the win here tonight. Regardless, the deck is stacked against them as Dylan Bates is out front, and he has been a tough compadre to race against. But here we are, doubled up for the restart here. What will be lap 64 with 36 laps to go. It's actually kind of crazy. Bill Tomer with qualifying first here tonight. He's unfortunately dropped 9 spots back to 10th at the moment. So he's going to have to work his way back through the field here. One driver that's definitely caught some breaks here with these cautions is the 22 of Kiernan Church, who's already made up half the spots here tonight from 26th up to 13th. Here we are back and rolling. You see some drafting going on here at the short track. The 11 was right up on the back bumper of the 75 trying to push him for all his worth. And that's allowed the 75 to close up on Dylan Bates here. Oh man, we're under caution for the 4th time here tonight. The racing is getting interesting here, and the aggression is definitely escalating here towards the second half of the race. So involved in the wreck is Dylan Schreiner, the 92 there. We've also got the 03 of Jason Lottridge, the 23 of Zachary Onan. They're 3 wide right in front of him. The 03 losing it. Jason Lottridge, they are simultaneously spinning right in front of him with nowhere to go. The track kind of cleans itself out there. Oh, and the 66 of Tracy tries to drive through it. He makes it through. That was a nice save from the 66 there. Let's watch that again. Good save there to miss out on all of that. Oh, and there's another spinner up front there. It looked like the 18, if I'm not mistaken, of Larson Parker. Well, the caution tally just keeps growing here tonight at Richmond as they're closing in on lap 70 here for the next restart. Alrighty, getting back for the restart here. Single file yet again. Dylan Bates with a good jump there on Mike Alexander. We're back and rolling on lap 69. Everyone racing hard, racing stout. Putting on a clinic here tonight with some great racing on display. Here we go, Alexander right there on the back bumper of Dylan Bates. Bates keeps it though. But this could get interesting. Dylan Bates got a little bit loose there. That might open the door for Alexander. They're getting looser in the background. That's probably the tires starting to get away from some of these drivers. And here we are for another caution. 5th caution of the night. And so here we have the 81 of Rick Rube. He comes down onto the 10 of Tim Weinreich, and that just sends the 81 around spinning. Tries to save it, rolls around, drifting through the turn, and then overcorrects it, hitting the outside wall hard. Taking out the front end, nose clip. 94 also with nowhere to go there. Doug Gaillard clips him pretty hard. Tough night for Rick Rube in the 81 there. Well, we are pretty much at the 3/4 mark of the race here now. Dylan Bates has led the most laps so far since taking over from Mike Alexander. Mike Alexander took over early in this race from Bill Tomer, who had pole position and led for about the first 10 laps. But since then, after losing the lead on pit stop strategy, Dylan Bates has been quietly walking away with it here after leading about the last 25 laps straight. He hasn't had to defend a whole lot since most of this second half has been run under caution. So Dylan Bates has been able to kind of securely hold on to the top spot here without a whole lot of drama. If we were to get green, I think that 75 has something for him. Even that last restart, it looked dicey for Dylan Bates. Mike Alexander was knocking on the door. Most of the drivers in the top 15 have all gained spots. The only driver to have lost spots in the top 10 is Bill Tomer. Everyone else has pretty much held where they've started or gained spots here tonight amongst the top 15. But what that does mean is all the drivers outside the top 15 have definitely dropped spots here tonight. You got Eric Tracy in 17th, who's lost 14 spots. Dylan Schreiner in 17th, lost 9 spots. Zachary Onan -6. Josh Oswald -8. And that kind of sums up the back half of the field. Cody Bain off the racetrack, it looks like. We're back to going with a quarter of the race left to go. Daniel Pope with a heck of a restart there. Jumps up past the 75, and Mike Alexander closes the door. And now Mike Alexander having to defend for what feels like the first time here tonight. He's been on the attack so much here tonight that defending it's so different. Oh, the 19 of Barkhouse got loose there. Everyone else behind had to check up. Fortunately, no one around. Everyone continues rolling, but man, the intensity level is at the top right now. Mike Alexander settles it. Whoa, they're clubbing the wall down the backstretch. So the 11 of Daniel Pope, he is the closest in competition for that title. And all he's going to have to do is beat Dylan Bates here tonight to force it to the 4th race of the playoffs, to the finale. I mean, even right now, sitting second to Dylan Bates, it's still going to go to the finale. But I guarantee you Daniel Pope's going to want to have some bargaining chips to play with in the finale rather than having a deficit to try and claw his way out of. As I highlighted earlier tonight, he sits back 12 points out of the lead rolling into tonight's race. And so anything he does, as long as he finishes right around Dylan Bates, he's going to keep that deficit pretty close. And whereas a win is about 48 points, and if you're looking at about last place of the active drivers, you could probably get at the minimum about 17 points. So it's going to come down to a lot of factors for the finale. 20 points depending on how many people show up. So 18 points is kind of the sweet spot. You want to roll into that finale with no more than an 18-point deficit. And Daniel Pope, if he were to beat Dylan Bates here tonight, might be able to leave here with about a 10-point deficit. Bonus points are obviously going to factor into this as well, and who knows if Daniel Pope winning may even be a wash. He might be rolling into the finale if he were to win this race, still with a 12-point deficit, which will be a tough deficit to come back from no matter what. $15 laps to go now. Daniel Pope knows what he must do. Knocking on the door. Keeping it close for the win. One thing for certain at the end of tonight, we should know who all is eliminated from playoff contention, since Dylan Bates has not done much wrong here tonight, keeping all the points going in his direction for the most part. But he's going to have to defend here. Daniel Pope wants the win. This could be a catalyst for so much more for that 11 team. Knowing that the title's on the line, and all he's got to do is beat Dylan Bates. And we're under caution for the 6th time tonight. Just when the racing was getting very, very, very exciting. And so this caution was brought out here on lap 88. Looks like it features the 19 of Matthew Barkhouse. He's trying to come down pit road, and his car is not turning. Oh, man. Tough, tough, tough. It's an unfortunate caution to come out with 12 laps to go. The racing was looking good, but for Matthew Barkhouse, I'm not even sure what exactly happened to his car, to be honest. I'm surprised it was that tore up. Well, here we go. There's a wreck that happened that was not claimed for caution. 3 wide with Bigley on the low side. Brady Weileman on the mid side there. He's just getting sliced and diced. Oh, and hit the wall hard. Weileman was able to save it. And here's the reason why the caution never came out. Everyone stayed going forward, even when they were spinning out. he had the Ross Chastain move there, going through turns 1 and 2. And he's clearing all the traffic, trying to get back to the low side to enter pit road. Carrying just a little bit too much speed. Brakes not working for him. And then he misses pit road and brings out the caution. So tough break. Tough break for everyone involved, actually. The only one not sweating a drop over that, though, is Dylan Bates, who might be the only driver smiling after the caution came out there. He's still going to have to hold off Daniel Pope. This restart is going to be crucial. And there's no telling how hard the 11's going to push it. We've seen some very over-the-top racing at the end of these ITZR ARCA races. I do not believe Daniel Pope would make an aggressive move, though. He seems to be one of those drivers that's really clean, very civilized on the racetrack. But when you got the title out there for the mix, you never know. You just never know what you would be willing to pull off to try and get the win here tonight. Especially since the laps are now working against you with only 8 laps to go. So the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to have a shootout to the finish here. 8 laps, 7 laps to go. Is Dylan Bates going to be able to close out the deal? Or is Mike Alexander, Daniel Pope, or even Corey Bigley still got something to say? And Bates got the best start he could have got on the restart there. Starting to build a bit of a gap on the 11. 11 cuts down low. Catching up back to the back bumper of the 91. And we're back under caution yet again here tonight. I think that's about the 7th or 8th caution of the evening. So this will force overtime, or it might end right at regulation here. But here's the caution on lap 94. So right now you're looking at the 65 of Aaron Abendroth going through turn 1. The 23 gets clipped there by the 97. 23 spins. He comes right back up the racing line and hard hits the 65 of Abendroth. Zachary Onen in the 23 lost it there on the inside. Cleaned out the 65, unfortunately. And so that puts us under caution with just 6 laps to go. Hoping that we continue to stay doubled up for the restarts here, because if things get single file, that might make things even harder for the 11 of Daniel Pope to fight for this race win. But I'm not the one in control of race controls, so it's not my call to make. But for the spectator in me, I would love to see at least one more final double file restart here to shoot out for the finish. The 11 is looking stout. The 91 has been able to defend every advance the 11 has thrown at him. And so we will have a natural green-white checkered to finish the race under regulation. The lights should go off on the pace car. We'll see if they get doubled up or say if they stay single file. No matter the case, Daniel Pope has put on a very great showing here tonight. And even a second place finish is nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna go single file. Might be some opposition to that. The 11 seems like he wants to go double. It's not the ideal way to restart the race at the end here, giving everyone a fair shot to fight for the win, but at the same time trying to keep the race from bringing out another caution. It's kind of that, that balance. You got to find that fine-tuned balance. And so Daniel Pope's going to have to nail it here and join the 91 right when he kicks it into gear. Great start from both of them. 2 laps to go. Daniel Pope's going to have 2 laps, try and set down qualifying pace here to try and get the win. Clips the wall there on the backstretch. Dylan Bates, he's going to be looking for that white flag waving in the air. 1 more lap to go. And that might be all she wrote, folks. Daniel Pope not quite close enough to make an attack on the 91. They're spinning in the background, but they're going to race back to the start-finish line. The race is official no matter what. The 11 tries to drive it in deep, but to no avail. The 91's going to get his 3rd win here in the championship push. 3 for 3 in the playoffs. 11 for 11 with the top 5 finishes. Dylan Bates is simply on fire. Daniel Pope may be the only driver left to bring it to the title hunt next week in the finale at Iowa. So nothing is official until the checkered flag waves next week at Iowa. But what we know for sure is Dylan Bates has been unstoppable in the playoffs. 3 for 3 with his 3rd win here at Richmond tonight. He's doing donuts as he should be. Going through the grass now, celebrating the win here tonight at Richmond. 100 laps of pure mastercraft from that 91 team. He took the lead after halfway and never looked back. Led half the race here tonight, the second half to be exact. And Daniel Pope was there. Mike Alexander was also there. But they were not able to crack the code on the 91 team. And so let us show you the finishing results here tonight. Starting at the back, we'll go up to the top. Cody Boehm unfortunately had a bad race, finished 77 laps down here tonight. Rick Rube got in that wreck late in the race. He finished 29 laps down in 25th. Doug Gaillard, 28 laps down in 24th. Matthew Barkhouse, that was a tough wreck for him. That car looked toast. and unfortunately brought out that last caution in the one of the last two cautions. Finishes 13 laps down in 23rd. Then you've got Zachary Onen, Aaron Abendroth. Those are the last of the drivers that finished laps down. So of our drivers that finished on the lead lap here tonight, you got your top 20, including Jacob Boehm, Caleb Hill, Jeff By Jr., Jason Lottridge, David Hill, and then you got Tim Weinreich with a 15th, Eric Tracy, William Griffith, Josh Oswald, Dylan Schreiner, and Tyler Rice with a solid top 10 run. And then ninth place belonged to Kiernan Church, coming from dead last in the field to the top 10. Brady Weileman, Bill Tomer from pole position back to 7th, Larson Parker, AJ Rogers, Corey Bigley. And so with that, we've got our podium finishers, and I'll go ahead and bring into the booth your third place driver tonight here in Mike Alexander. Do you copy, Mike?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, how about that? Another great run here tonight from Richmond with a podium finish. That 75 looked stout and was contending for the win all night long. What else did you need there at the end to fight for it?
Well, I don't know what was going on the starts. I just couldn't seem to get up through the gears, and that was really killing me on the restarts. And when Dylan beat us out of the pits there, that was it was hard to get that back. Kind of hard to pass here. Um, and I knew once he beat me out of the pits, it was going to be hard to beat him. You know, he's really good, and once he gets up front, it's hard to wrestle it away from him. I wish we would have just had a few less yellows at the end, so me and Daniel and Dylan could all race it out. I think it would have been a really good race between the three of us. We were all pretty close speed wise.
Yeah, it was definitely an exciting race to watch. The top three were, I mean, you guys were the stars of the show there throughout the night, and it looked like you had the fastest cars by far. So, um, I mean, a lot of it kind of came down to cautions and stuff, and I'm sure if the cautions didn't fall at the wrong times, you probably would have had some better shots at fighting Bates for the win there. It looked like you had it a couple times, and then the caution would come out. So, just tough breaks. Is that kind of what you sum it up to?
Yeah, I wouldn't say tough breaks. It's just kind of, I need 5 to 8 laps to get rolling, or I needed 5 to 8 laps to get rolling, and kind of work at it and see what we had. I couldn't really go initially, and when we were getting those yellows every 2 or 3 laps, it really killed any chance I had at battling for it.
Well, is there any friends, family, sponsors you want to thank here tonight?
Just same as usual, everybody at in the zone for putting this series on. I know we only got 1 week left, so hopefully we finish strong. You for doing the broadcast, you always do a great job. And R&R Kinsman's Auto Salvage, I guess I'll thank them. They're my sponsor in real life. And I guess my brother Matt.
Tough break for Matt tonight too. He had a great run going up until he got tangled up in that wreck. So, no, I'm excited for the last race of the season, and I'm hoping if y'all are gonna put on some more seasons, I'll be happy to hop on and call the races. So, keep up the great work and enjoy this podium here tonight.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
And so that was Mike Alexander with the podium here tonight. We'll go ahead and bring in Daniel Pope II for his second place finish here. And also that, the title hunt's still in the mix there for him. So, do you copy, Daniel?
I gotcha.
Man, I mean, you were trying to give it all you had there at the end, and Dylan Bates just kept kind of playing the opposition on that. What else did you need to get around Dylan Bates here at the end of the race?
Less cautions. I needed that to run green. I was really good. I've always been really good at Richmond at saving tires, and I had saved just enough to be a little bit better on the bottom, be able to wrap the bottom, and the cautions just kept coming and coming and coming, and it just took away any opportunity to really make a run at him.
Yeah, definitely. It gets a little bit heated at the end of these races. The ITZR, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the rate it just shows you how hard the drivers are racing, and sometimes it falls at the wrong time. So sometimes I guess it just kind of makes you have to change up the game strategy on the go. With that, what are you thinking about the next race at Iowa to end out the season?
I mean, we'll run all right. I don't know exactly how good we'll be. Iowa has changed since the last time I drove there, so I really don't know how it races. But I expect to go there and be competitive. I don't think anybody's gonna beat Dylan for the championship. I think this pretty much kind of sewed it up unless he has a very unfortunate race at Iowa. But for missing 2 weeks and being the 12th seed coming into this, it's okay to run good these races and take a shot at it anyway.
Well, and from my analysis, and this is unofficial, I do think like you might be the only one still technically alive for the title hunt. You rolled into tonight with a 12-point deficit, and with still finishing second to Bates, I think you're probably going to be about an 18 or so, 15 to 18 point deficit for the finale. And depending on how many cars show up for the finale, that basically just means you'd have to win and Bates would have to wreck out, finish last. It would look like so. I mean, there's still it's not over. It's not sealed, signed, and delivered yet, but something to at least kind of look forward to, I guess. Right?
Yeah, just finish out the season strong. I mean, me and Dylan are friends. We've been friends for a long time, and we've been, we were teammates for 5, 6 years. So I mean, it's not a bad thing to lose it to Dylan. If I'm going to not win it, I would prefer he win it. So at the end of the day, I'm not too bothered by it. We're having fun. We're trying to put on a fun league for everybody, and just hope that everybody comes back and tries again next time.
Cool, cool. That's what I love to hear. Any friends, family, sponsors you want to thank here?
Just every like I say every week, every person that shows up week in and week out and supports ITZR. It's a lot of work on Bill, myself, and Jeff. So all these guys that show up weekly, we couldn't do it without them. And then of course the team guys, Dylan, then my team guys at the association. They're always there for fun and of course you guys with the broadcast. Appreciate you guys doing what you did this year, and we got one more. Hopefully it'll be a fun time.
Heck yeah. No, I enjoy watching the races. Keep up the good work. Enjoy your second place finish here, and we'll see you in the next one.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
And so that was Daniel Pope with the second place here tonight. And so that leaves us with the man of the hour. None other than your championship title contender, your guy rolling into the finale with the big lead, Dylan Bates. Do you copy, Dylan?
No, I got you.
Well, yeah, I'm pushing the envelope every week, continuing to bring up the stats here and there, and I have not jinxed it yet. So, I apologize that I keep bringing them up during the broadcast because I feel like eventually my luck's gonna run out and I'll cost you something. But man, you are on a rail last couple weeks. How are you feeling getting the win here tonight at Richmond?
I feel pretty good about it. Wasn't really happy with qualifying. I kind of got into practice a little late and just didn't get a great feel for the car. Tried some things with the brake bias, and really both things I tried didn't work too well. Luckily, my pit crew got me a good pit stop down there and passed a couple cars on pit road and was able to hang on to it.
So on that pit stop, what did you do? Was it a just gas and go? Did you take some tires? I didn't quite catch that.
I took four in fuel, but I really pushed the envelope and made sure that I was right on the cars in front of me's bumpers and got into my box really clean and was able to get out of the box really clean too. So I think the 11 slid his box. So I knew we would get him, but I was surprised to get the lead too. So it worked out.
Yeah, definitely a game of inches sometimes, and it's crazy when you get, the gridiron, like pit stops actually make the difference, and that seemed to be the game changer here tonight. Apart from that, how do you feel about the next track on the schedule with Iowa?
That's going to be a lot like this track. It's another good track for me. I think maybe it'll be a little easier to pass than it was here tonight. Richmond's a little more narrow, and you can kind of knife up through the field on fresh tires at Richmond, but by the time you get old tires, the top just gets so dominant, which we might see that at Iowa too. So track position will be key, but really, I don't think it matters too much. I really just need to keep it in the top 10. I think we'll be all right.
Well, congrats again on keeping that top 5 streak 11 strong. 3 back-to-back wins. Who all you want to thank for the win here tonight?
Just all the guys at Velocity Motorsports and Bill and Jeff and Pope and everybody for putting on this league. Great to be back.
I'll be excited to call the racing next season whenever you guys get rolling again. So I appreciate
Yes, sir.
the great racing action, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep, thank you.
Alrighty, folks, that is a wrap here tonight for In the Zone Racing ARCA. Richmond delivered. Dylan Bates came home with his 3rd consecutive win, giving him 4 wins now on the season, and we'll be rolling into the championship finale with what should be about, I would say, anywhere between a 15 to 20 point lead over Daniel Pope II. And so the title, it is not tied up yet, but you might as well start kind of printing out the merchandise for the drivers that are in the mix for the championship, as it's only down to about 2 drivers left fighting for the title. Dylan Bates, Daniel Pope, no big drama, and like Daniel Pope said tonight, he wouldn't mind finishing second to his buddy, who's been the dominant force here this year. So all we can hope for is some great racing, and that is exactly what we've had here. Tonight was an exciting race from Richmond, and we saw some comers and goers. Ultimately, Dylan Bates played the pit strategy to perfection to secure his 4th win of the season. And that's, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a third of the season right there in his win category. So we'll see you next week, folks, at Iowa for the ITZR championship finale. And then we'll just have to start looking forward to the next season when they get the wheels rolling again in the ITZR ARCA Series. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Thanks to Intensity Broadcasting for the opportunity here. And thank you to the ITZR Series for putting on such great racing. Without you folks tuning in, it wouldn't mean a whole lot. So it's great to have spectators tune in to watch the races. And we hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage of the ARCA race. Hope to see you next week at Iowa for the championship finale, and you will not be disappointed. With that, I will close out the night, everyone. Have a great one. Stay safe out there. And this is Jakester signing out for Intensity Broadcasting.